Hello, everybody, and welcome to this presentation. I'm Lisa Shield, and I want to welcome everybody. I think I just said that. Um, Please, if you are interested, go to lisashield.com and click the button to check out my free 45-minute presentation. I am a love coach, and I've been doing this work for 20 plus years. I've helped hundreds of women in my courses. My course is called Emotionally Naked Dating, and I've also helped thousands of women find true love through my broadcasts, my podcasts, my Facebook Lives, and all. So please go check me out, especially go check out my success stories page. It's the page on my website that I really am most proud of. I get so many extraordinary testimonials from you all that sometimes it's almost hard to take it all in. So today I want to talk about a topic that I think is on everybody's mind, and that is the fear of commitment. Commitment is something that is rampant. It's just wild how many people are afraid to commit to a relationship. Women love to talk about how men are afraid to commit, but I think women are also afraid to get in the wrong relationships. We're afraid to repeat patterns from our past. We're afraid, we're not always aware of what's stopping us from committing to another person. We can't see our own blind spots. And that's one of the reasons working with a great coach or a mentor or somebody who can observe you and help you see where you're blocking love is so important. Our patterns are more powerful than our knowledge and our self-awareness. If we don't really understand the mechanics of relationships and how to stop repeating these patterns, it's so easy to fall back into the same things that we've done in our past and keep repeating these mistakes over and over again. And so I want to talk about how and why we're so afraid to commit and how to prevent this from happening, how you can think beyond your fear of commitment, maybe get help, seek out a coach, but do some work so that you don't fall victim to this. So I want to start with a statistic that I think is kind of important. Pew Research, which looks at the state of relationships and the state of marriage, found that 42% of Americans didn't have a significant other. And that was in 2017. I looked for a more recent statistic, and I would assume it's even higher now after the pandemic and everything that went, awry there. I think that that number may be even higher now. And it's really shocking to think that 42% of Americans are not don't have a significant other. And it's important also to know that on average, unpartnered adults have worse economic outcomes than partnered adults. So, in all kinds of areas, cohabitation, in the quality of your living circumstance, in education, in income, earning potential, all of these things are ways in which people who are unpartnered they're on their own. They don't have somebody to pick up the slack. For example, during the pandemic, my husband went literally from day to night. His entire practice was shut down. And I can't even imagine what he would have done if he had been single and he hadn't had me. Together, we were able to pivot beautifully. He just started working with me in my coaching practice, and we were fine during the pandemic. In fact, we actually thrived during that time, and we had some wonderful experiences. And now he's a part of my business. I told him he could go back to doing his work and not work with me anymore. But he wanted to continue working with me, which was beautiful. And he said, no, I see the value to the women in the program of me being there. And so I want to continue coming on group calls with you. I want to continue writing the profiles, the online dating profiles. So it was an amazing time for us. But he literally went from one moment to the next within the span of 24 hours. He had no income. And it was only because of me and my business and the fact that we were partners that we were able to skate through that time in our lives. So there's a lot that's missing. And this is not, I think I always have to say in these conversations, I'm not stigmatizing single people. I was single for most of my life, for much of my young life. I was single. And I'm not saying that that's wrong or bad, but I also know that there are many, many, many people who don't want to be doing life alone. They want commitment. They want partnership. They want someone to wake up every morning and see this person that they love lying next to them in the bed, or like me, I get up at 5 a.m. and Benjamin probably gets up around 7 or 7:30. And I do my work for the first couple of hours. And then, I run into the house and I look for him and I'm so excited to see him. And, I know that whenever I turn around, we actually have the luxury. We both work from home. We have separate offices. His office is right behind mine, but we get to spend, all of our free time together. And so, sometimes we'll do a call with our women and then we'll look at each other and they'll say, are you hungry? And I'll say, yeah, kind of. And I'll say, are you? And I'll say, yeah. And he's like, where do you want to go? And we'll hop in the car and we'll go out somewhere and grab a bite to eat. And it's just wonderful to know that we can do that together. So we're planning a great vacation. We haven't been on a really, really nice vacation for a while. And we found this extraordinary um, resort it's in Cambodia, and it's called Shinta Wild, I think. And it's designed by this wild interior designer, Bill Bensley, who lives in Bangkok, and he's done all these amazing properties. And so we have to, it's in the jungle or in the forest in Cambodia. And the only way to get there is that you have to take a Jeep ride, and then you have to cross the suspension bridge, and then you have to literally zip line into the property. That's the only way to get into the property. So we're both so excited. And just to be able to plan something like that with my husband, to go on an adventure like that. I mean, I wouldn't do something like that alone, but with him, it's just the most exciting thing in the world. So for me, I know I was afraid of commitment, and it's a very real fear. Uh, and it's sometimes so hidden inside of us. It's so subconscious that we don't even really know why we're afraid, but we push love away. We say like we're wanting it like with one hand, it's like, I want love. And then we're pushing it away with the other hand, not even knowing that we're doing it. So let's talk about some of the reasons why you might be pushing love away, or you may be afraid of commitment without even really knowing it. One of the big things that is a fear of losing our independence. So many of you, and I work with a lot of very successful women who have worked very, very hard to create a wonderful career, who are financially stable and all. And there's a lot of fear of losing our financial independence. That's a big one for women. We're so, and for men too. Maybe we've had somebody take advantage of us financially. I know my ex-husband did. I allowed my ex-husband to take advantage of me financially, and several other men that I dated. I went through that, and it didn't feel good. I wasn't really looking for somebody to provide for me. I actually had a good income, I had money, but I realized that I also didn't want to be paying somebody else's way. I wanted a man who brought an income and stability into the relationship. But for so long, I had just dated one man after another who was not financially stable. And it was scary to me, especially as I was getting older, to think about jeopardizing that. And I had to really look at that and think about the choices I was making in men, and why, whenever there's a repeating pattern in our lives, it's not just because we're unlucky. There's something we're doing, there's something we're missing that is causing that pattern to repeat. And we have to take a step back and look at the choices we're making, because the only thing that we can do, a lot of people think when it comes to love and relationships that we're just going to get lucky and meet this person, perfect person, and live happily ever after. No, we are the sum total of the choices we make in life. And if we keep saying yes to those situations and to those men, that is what we're going to get. And so I had to really look at why I kept choosing men who were not financially stable. And I had to look at the choices I was making. And then I saw that I was afraid. I thought that men who had money and were successful financially, that those men could have any woman they wanted. Why would they pick me? And I had to look at why I didn't feel that I would be first choice for these men, right? Like, why wouldn't a man pick me? Why wouldn't a man pick you? So we have to look at ourselves and understand that I was undervaluing what I brought to a relationship. I thought, oh, men just want beautiful, sexy, skinny women. And that's not true at all. It really isn't true. There are wonderful, wonderful men who want women who are loving and kind and nurturing, and who understand men and know how to mirror their masculinity back to them and make them feel fabulous. And so I started to learn how to engage with men in a very different way. I'll never be the skinniest, prettiest woman ever. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not attractive, but I know some gorgeous women. And, I don't live at the gym, and I don't walk around with kombucha in my hand. And I am not really into sports and exercise. And so a guy that's going to be with me is going to have to be willing to accept me the way I am. But I developed other gifts. I understood what men were looking for, and I learned how to talk to men and how to engage with them and how to make them feel wonderful. And I was able to attract a fabulous guy who, I don't think there's a better man for me on the planet. So, we can change these things, but you don't have to give up your independence. You do not have to give up your financial freedom. In fact, if you find a man who actually is financially stable and brings an income and a paycheck and is generous in the same way that you are, you actually will gain more with the right partner. So another one is fear of settling. We're afraid that we might settle for the wrong guy again, that we may compromise and wind up in another bad relationship because we really don't know what we're doing. We're not conscious and aware of how to really choose a true partner. And so underneath our desire for partnership is really a fear that we're going to settle because we can't find the right guy. One of the most beautiful things in my Emotionally Naked Dating course is that I help my women get clear on what they really need to look for in a partner, not the things they think they want and need. That's a whole different list, but the things they really need to be looking for, like a man who's really uh, done his psychospiritual work, who is both psychologically sound and has a wonderful heart, who's spiritually sound, who is kind and generous and grateful and humble. So it has to be both of those things. A man who takes personal responsibility for himself, who doesn't blame his exes or feel like a victim or blame you, but a man who is kind, who's not a narcissist. So I teach my women what to look for in a partner so they don't have to settle. Another one is pressure from friends. A lot of us go along and we absorb what our friends are doing. And so if our friends aren't in committed relationships and we're surrounded by other single people who are struggling in the same way we are, then we will sit around and we'll commiserate and we'll talk about what's wrong and why this isn't working and why we can't have what we really want. And then we drink the poison. We drink the poison and then we just feel like, it's never going to happen. And we look around at our girlfriends who are not being successful and we buy into this idea that, you know, they're not doing it. So maybe it just isn't real. And one of the worst things is from that vantage point, you start to see all of the negative things. You fixate and you look, there's something called selective perception. And what we do is when we have a theory about something, we believe it. And then we look for evidence that it's true. So we actually filter in all of the evidence that supports our belief and we filter out all of the evidence that goes against it. So you want to surround yourself with people who are positive and successful and have great relationships and have positive things to say about men. You want to work with coaches who are going to help you see opportunities and show you examples of model for you an example of a healthy couple like Benjamin and I do for our women. And you also want to be around other women who are positive and have a community of like-minded women who are really going for what they want instead of talking about why it'll never happen and fixating on men and what's wrong with them. Another one is the fear of repeating the same mistakes. So just whatever, picking another alcoholic or finding another narcissist, um, all of these things are reasons why you may keep yourself single because you don't really know. You think oh, I had a narcissist. Well, let me just tell you, there are a million flavors of narcissism and narcissists. There are nice narcissists, there are mean narcissists. There are also lots and lots of people who have other pathologies that you may not even be aware of. And how do you spot those, right? That's another one. So you have to educate yourself on the signs. Another reason we have fear of commitment is because you may be anxious and you may have a propensity for attracting avoidant men who excite you. They come on strong, they sweep you off your feet. It feels like something out of a romance novel. And just as quickly, the minute you fall for them, they're gone. You need, again, to educate yourself on how healthy relationships are formed. Looking for fireworks and moonbeams and shooting stars and skyrockets is not the way to gauge whether or not somebody is really a good partner. most of the time, those relationships that start out that way end just as quickly, and they crash and burn, just like shooting stars and fireworks do. They flame out. And so you want to learn from people who have healthy relationships, how they started out, because we teach our women that you don't want skyrockets and shooting stars. You want to find something that grows slowly over time, where you meet somebody and it's like, I don't know, he's kind of a nice guy. He likes me, he's consistent, he keeps calling, but there's something different about him. There's something, I don't know what it is, but let me investigate a little further. And the further you go, the better it gets. And then suddenly it builds and builds and builds from the ground up, not from the top down. So that's what you're looking for. Not an anxious, avoidant relationship, not a guy who's completely avoidant, who the minute you fall for him, he's going to turn, spin on his heels and walk the other way and pull away. But a guy who, when you take a step towards him, he takes 2 steps towards you. So if you really want to get past this fear of commitment, and you want to stop telling yourselves, oh, men can't commit or they're not emotionally available. And you really want to look at how you may be causing this, where your blind spots are. And you want to learn how to attract what I call a guardian of your soul. Why don't you just go to lisashield.com and click the button there and watch my free 45-minute presentation. And if you want to, just stay to the end. We'll jump on a call and we'll talk to you about how we can help you get this solved. There's way more to know about this than you can ever imagine. And all I ask for is 3 months of your time. In those 3 months, you will learn more than most women will ever know in their lifetimes about men and love and dating and how to choose the right partner and how to be the right partner for the man that you may meet, the guy that you sit across from on a date and you think, oh my God, I've just met the most wonderful man, but will he think that I'm the woman for him? We're going to show you how to meet that guy, how to attract him, and how to make the most, how to seize that moment and turn it into lifelong love. That's what we can teach you how to do. So I'm Lisa Shield. Thank you so much for listening. Please check out my other podcasts. They are all on my website. You can go to lisashield.com/podcast or find me wherever you find your podcasts. Please rate and like us. And also, if you have any topics you want us to discuss, you can send that to podcast@lisashield.com. And finally, just give us a thumbs up on YouTube if you happen to be there. We love to know that we're doing things right. And just tell your daughters and sisters and friends and guy friends and girlfriends and your mother and your aunts and your uncles, whoever, to please tune in and listen to what I'm saying, to what Benjamin's saying. We really want to help you all find the guardians of your souls. We send you so much love, and hopefully we'll get a chance to work with you and help you get this solved, because this is the most beautiful part of life, having the right partner to share it with you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.